second session of our English class. In the last class, we discussed the reading text, that is, reading comprehension of A Visit to Cambridge, that is chapter 7 of our textbook. We dealt in detail the entire text and we also have learnt certain vocabulary. And in today's session, that is part 2 of the text A Visit to Cambridge, we are going to learn the vocabulary and grammar part. In this, we have 4 areas to be covered. The first area is writing appropriate forms of the words, that is related to parts of speech. The next one is making meaningful phrases. The third topic is the use of all or both. They are also known as quantifiers. And the fourth area is writing appropriate forms of the adjectives. They are also known as degrees of comparison. Children, in today's session, that is part 2 session, we are going to learn and discuss all these things in detail. Enjoy the class, and shall we start our lesson?
The overview of the text. Part 1, reading comprehension, working with the text. Part 2, some part of reading comprehension, working with language and grammar. And part 3, speaking and writing, and poem, When I Set Out for Lioness. Part 2, working with language, reading comprehension, use of all or both or quantifiers, right forms of the adjectives are also known as degrees of comparison or comparison of adjectives. These topics we are going to discuss in today's session. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to recognize certain other disabled people's challenges, extend your part of support to the people with special needs, illustrate the sentences using all or both in each context, distinguish the use of all or both in different contexts, classify the various forms of adjectives, and also able to write the correct form of the adjectives for the given words. Children, now let's begin the next part of the text. Children, let's continue the next part of the text. A first glimpse of him is shocking because he's like a still photograph, as if all those pictures of him in magazines and newspapers have turned three-dimensional. Then you see the head twisted sideways into a slump, the torso shrunk inside the pale blue shirt, the wasted legs. You look at his eyes, which can speak still, and they are saying something huge and urgent. It's hard to tell what, but you're shaken because you have seen something you never thought could be seen. Children, a writer gets shocked when he had a look at Hawking because he appeared like a mere image the way he observed in a magazine or in a newspaper. He described the way Hawking was in his wheelchair. He felt that his eyes were trying to tell something very important and urgent, but it's very hard to anyone to tell what. But he's shaken for one thing, that one could never expect a person like him in a wheelchair. Children, now let's see meanings of difficult words. Children, let's see meanings for a few difficult words we have come across in the given text. Glimpse, a momentary view. Three-dimensional, appearing to have length, breadth and depth. We'll see some more words and their meanings with images. Children, we'll see a few more meanings of the words with images. Slump, fall heavily. Torso, the part of the body that excludes head, limbs, and legs. Children, can you answer this? Once check. Children, let's say this question. Why was Firdaus shocked? Firdaus was shocked because Stephen Hawking looked like a still photograph. Well done. Children, let's see the next comprehension part. Before you, like a lantern whose walls are worn so thin you glimpse only the light inside, is the incandescence of a man. The body, almost irrelevant, exists only like a case made of shadows, so that I, no believer in eternal souls, know that this is what each of us is, everything else an accessory. Children, a writer, when he observed Hawking, he felt that he was mere a man made of bones, out of which we can see the lights, and the outside skin and all appears like wall. And he feels a philosophical thought when he observed him. He says that this is what the human life is. It's nothing much. The body is only an accessory, and he could find the light from his body. Children, now we'll see the meaning of difficult words. Meanings of difficult words. Lantern, a lamp. Incandescence, the emission of light from the body. Children, we'll see a few more meanings for other words. Irrelevant, not important. Eternal, forever. Inflection, change in the form of words to express tense, gender, etc. Children, shall we see the question whether we can answer or not? If the lantern is the man, what would its walls be? Walls would be the skeleton like physical structure. Well done. Children, let's see the next part of the text. Every time I shifted in my chair or turned my wrist to watch the time, I wanted to make every one of our 30 minutes count. I felt a huge relief and exhilaration in the possibilities of my body. How little it mattered then that I would never walk or even stand. I told him how he had been an inspiration beyond clutch for me and surely for others. Did that thought help him? No, he said. And I thought how foolish I was to ask. When your body is a claustrophobic room and the walls are growing narrower day by day, it doesn't do much good to know that there are people outside smiling with admiration to see you breathing still. Children or a writer felt so excited to spend those 30 minutes with such a great person. And he said that he was his inspiration and asked him whether the thought would support him. Then Hawking replied, no. And immediately our author felt how foolishly he questioned him because he knew very well that he was in such a condition and it won't make much difference if even though he knew the people admire him and see him still he is alive. Children, let's see the meanings of the difficult words. Children, let's see meanings of the difficult words. Exhilaration, excitement and happiness. Clutch. Not at all original, surprising, or interesting. Children, let's see a few more meanings of the difficult words. Claustrophobic. Fear for closed spaces. Admiration. A feeling of respect and approval. Children, let's see the next conversation. Children, Firdaus questions Hawking. Is there any advice you can give disabled people? Something that might help make life better? Hawking replies, they should concentrate on what they are good at. Children, now let's try to answer the question. What's the scientist's message for the disabled? To concentrate on what they are good at. Well done. Now, see the next part of the text. I know what you mean. I remembered the years I had spent trying to play a Spanish guitar considerably larger than I was, and how gleefully I had unstrung it one night. The half hour was up. I think I've annoyed you enough, I said, grinning. Thank you for tea. I waited. Have some tea. I can show the garden. Children, Hawking, he gives out a reason for his statement. He says that he tried to play a Spanish guitar and he spent learning it for a good number of years, but finally he couldn't do. And one night, he, in a very happy manner, he unstringed his guitar, and the time, half an hour given to him, was up. Then the writer said, in a smiling manner, that he had irritated him by his questions in the 30 hours. But Hawking, in a very welcoming way, he thanked him and asked him to stay for some time and have some tea so that he would like to show him his garden. Children, let's see what's the next question. Why does the writer refer to the guitar incident? Spending time on what they cannot is waste, like the disabled Olympics. He wanted to convey that though he spent a lot of time on his learning the guitar, but he couldn't fulfill it. So he referred the guitar incident here. Children, let's see the next part. The garden was as big as a park, but Stephen Hawking covered every inch, rumbling along in his motorized wheelchair while I dodged to keep out of the way. We couldn't talk very much. The sun made him silent, the letters on his screen disappearing in the glare. An hour later, we were ready to leave. I did not know what to do. I could not kiss him or cry. But Stephen Hawking and Firdaus roamed each and every nook and corner of the garden in their wheelchair silently, since it was hot. After an hour later, they were about to leave, and he did not understand what to do. He could not either kiss him or cry. Children, let's see the following question. How was the garden? The garden was as big as a park. Well done. Children, we'll see the text further. I touched his shoulder and wheeled out into the summer evening. I looked back, and I knew he was waving, though he wasn't. Watching him, an embodiment of my bravest self, the one I was moving towards, the one I had believed in for so many years, alone, I knew that my journey was over for now. Children, Our writer felt so happy that his journey was so successful and purposeful. He felt his journey was over since he had completed his book of travels. Now we'll see meaning of difficult words from the text given. Gleefully, happily, grinning, smiling widely. We'll see some more meanings of difficult words. Dodged, to avoid something unpleasant. Rumbling, to travel with a sound. Embodiment, the visible form of an idea. Children, we'll see this question and check how far we have understood. What does the writer mean by an embodiment of my bravest self? The writer felt Stephen Hawking is a living example of his thought. Well done! Children, we'll see the entire concept in a nutshell. The concept map of the text. A visit to Cambridge comprises Stephen Hawking, Firdaus Kanga, positive attitude, uncompromising dialogue, meeting of two extraordinary personalities, challenges faced by them, a unique friendship, way of acceptance, the things as they are. Children, let's have a glance at key expressions that you have come across in the text. Claustrophobic room. Light is soul, body is lamp. Children, will continue to see certain other key expressions with images. Key expressions in eternal souls, breathing still, an embodiment of my bravest self. Children, let's switch on to the next topic. That is topic 3, working with language, use of all or both. Children, a topic 3 in today's session is use of all or both. They're also called as quantifiers. Observe these two examples. The first picture, all the children cheering up to learn English. If you observe the second picture, you can find two children. Both are going to school very happily. Children, let's discuss what are quantifiers. Let's see what are quantifiers. Quantifiers are those words which are used for nouns to quantify. In this exercise, we are going to learn how and when to use all or both. The term both refers to two options out of the two. The term all refers to each individual in a group of two or more. See the note here. Both is used with a plural noun confined to two people or two things, and all with a plural noun talking about all the people in a group. Now children, let's see the textual exercise and the use of all or both in this context. Children, hope you have understood the use of all or both. All refers to the people in a group. Both is confined only to two. Now, choose the right one and fill in the blank. The first one is, he has two brothers. Blank or lawyers. He has two brothers, both are lawyers. Second one, more than 10 persons called. Blank of them wanted to see you. More than 10 persons called. All of them wanted to see you. Children, let's continue the exercise. They dash cheered the team. They all cheered the team. Fourth one. Dash her parents or teachers. Both her parents or teachers. Fifth one. How much have you got? Give me dash of it. How much have you got? Give me all of it. Children, we'll see the next exercise. Activity. Make the following sentences into meaningful sentences. The first one. Need water all plants. All plants need water. The second one. The students exam passed both. Both students passed the exam. Children, let's continue the activity. Third sentence. To went the event all they. They all went to the event. Next one is happy were both they. They both were happy. Next sentence. Have mobiles both qualities good. Both mobiles have good qualities. Children, now try to do the assignment given. Complete the following sentences choosing the appropriate one, both or all. First sentence. Girls are shining at the party. All girls are shining at the party. Sentence number 2. Dash actors are genius. Both actors are genius. Children, do the next assignment. Children, let's do this assignment. Complete the following sentences choosing the appropriate one, both or all. Sentence 1. Did students complete their works? Did all students complete their works? Next one. Waiters were polite and patient. Both waiters were polite and patient. The milk is dropped on the floor. All the milk is dropped on the floor. Children, try to do the next assignment on your own. Children, do the given assignment on your own. Read the following sentences and rewrite the sentence with both and all if the sentence is incorrect. All my parents are working. My father is an engineer and my mother is a nurse. Second one. Both birds have wings, but not all of them can fly. Third one. Do you know both the letters in the English alphabet? Fourth one. All the apple and the orange were in the basket. Fifth one. I have 2 cats. All are male. Sixth one. Both the students in my class are coming to my party. Seventh. All teams played well in the final football game. Eighth. Both my fingernails are long I have to cut them. Children, shall we go to the next topic, that is topic 4, right forms of adjectives, degrees of comparison or comparison of adjectives. The second part of working with language. Children, now we'll see work with language. That is today's session topic 4, right forms of adjectives, degrees of comparison or comparison of adjectives. Let's see in detail. What's an adjective? The word that qualifies a noun is an adjective. What are the comparison of adjectives? The degrees of comparison relate to adjectives and also adverbs. Every adjective can be written in one of the 3 degrees: positive, comparative, superlative. Children, observe these images. Children, in this slide, we have different images of 2 different pictures. In the first picture, you can observe 3 elephants. The first one is big, the other one is bigger, and the third one is biggest. In the same way, if you observe the 3 towers, the first one is tall, the next one is taller, and you find the third one is the tallest. Now, let's see some more examples. Another adjective is fast. You can see here fast, faster, fastest. Small, smaller, smallest. Now, we'll see these 3 differences under 3 forms, that is positive, comparative and superlative forms. Regular forms of adjectives end with er or est in comparative forms and superlative forms respectively. Positive form is the root form of the adjective. Now let's see the examples. Thin, thinner, the thinnest. Fat, fatter, the fattest. Fierce, fiercer, the fiercest. Friendly, friendlier, the friendliest. Now, let's see the rules in detail. Now, let's see the key observations in each of the degrees. The first one is positive. The sentence in the positive form begins with no other and using as or so as. Comparative form takes than any other and superlative form is the best. No other boy in the class is as tall as Ram or so tall as Ram. Ram is taller than any other boy or all other boys in the class. Ram is the tallest boy in the class. Second one, let's observe. Very few, the sentence begins with very few, as or so as, than most other in comparative, and one of the best in the superlative form. Very few boys in the class are as tall as Ram. Ram is taller than many or most other boys in the class. Ram is one of the tallest boys in the class. Children, shall we complete this exercise? Textual exercise. Complete each sentence using the right forms of the adjectives given in brackets. First one. My friend has one of the fastest cars on the road. This is the most interesting story I have ever read. What you are doing now is easier than what you did yesterday. Ramesh and his wife both are short. He arrived late as usual. Even the chief guest came earlier than he did. Children, do the next assignment. Children, complete the assignment given. Complete the following table using appropriate forms of adjectives: positive, comparative, superlative. And various forms of adjectives are given in their three different forms. And you need to write the correct form of the adjective in the correct place. In the positive form, uh, the adjectives are strong, worthy, large, relevant. Comparative form: poorer, braver, more beautiful. Superlative: best, narrowest, hardest. Now, children, let's see the practice sheet. Children, complete the practice sheet. Fill in the blanks with the correct forms of the adjectives given. First one: my brother is. My sister, short. Adjective given: I am as at football as my best friend. Good. She is girl in the class. Beautiful. You are person I have ever known. Nice. Adjective given: summer is winter. Hot. Adjective given: houses or flats. Expensive. This apple is that apple. Tasty. My granddad is member in our family. Old. What's the matter? You are as now. White. Children, we'll see what we have learned in today's session. Children, let's see what we have learned in today's session. We have discussed the text of A Visit to Cambridge, learned certain key expressions, discussed the use of all or both, also known as quantifiers, in detail, talked about right forms of adjectives, also known as degrees of comparison or comparison of adjectives, discussed what is an adjective, analyzed comparison of adjectives in three different forms or degrees. Thank you, children. I'll meet you in the next session. Have a good day.